Hello everyone, welcome to this episode, and this episode we're going to discuss everything about database attacks, database injection, SQL injections. So uh, as a penetration tester, you can be tasked to identify if a system on an application or a software uh, is vulnerable to any database injection. And basically what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to discuss or do practical examples, or go through a practical lab on how we can exploit a database in an ethical manner. So everything done on this episode will be considering an ethical aspect. So therefore, please let us walk through in an ethical way. So before diving into, we need to have some information of what we are going to discuss. What is what are types of different types of database attacks, or what's an SQL attack, that is different type of SQL attacks. So from this document, what you can understand, see that we have three different types of SQL attacks, or SQLi, SQL injection. So SQLi is an injection that is done on a database so that it can corrupt the information or the data that the database hold. So within the SQL injection, we have three different types of injection that you can run through to a system. So the first one is inbound SQL injection. The inbound SQL injection is divided into two categories, that is error-based SQL injection and union-based uh, SQL injection. The second type that is under SQL injection or database attack is that out of bound SQL injection, or triple O BSQLi. So this is another type of an SQL injection. So let me check. Under SQL triple OB SQL injection occurs when attacker cannot see any immediate results like error or delayed data, but can retrieve information through alternative communication channels such as DNS or HTTP requests. So in this kind of in an inbound SQL injection, whenever we input data or a query on the database endpoint, we receive an error. That from that error we can able to understand what's the object of the database. As the as an explanation says here, it's, uh, error-based SQL exploit detailed database error messages to extract sensitive information. When an application displays database error, they're likely to use, as an attacker can craft malicious SQL queries to trigger errors that reveal uh, what the database looks like, the object of the database, uh, and all the information contained within the database. So with with what the input you can use to understand what's going on, or what the object of the database. So next is the union. Union uses the union SQL operator to manage the results of two queries. If successful, it allows attackers to retrieve information from different tables. So we can use here, we have a specific types of delimiters that you can use to retrieve data, but here you can just use union. If you want to learn more, understand about the language of the database, just learn SQL. From SQL, you'll be able to know how we can counter the same. So we have out of bound, we don't have it does not give us a predefined results or a metric that you can use to exploit a database. It's very in fact, this kind of exploitation is very hectic, and it needs time. So you cannot get an error or understand it. You need to have create your own pattern as an attacker, so to understand. So the third one is the inferential SQL injection or blind SQL injection. So this occurs when an attacker does not get direct output from the database, but infers information based on application behavior, such as response time and Boolean condition. The Boolean conditions are yes and no. If you input a delimiter it will tell you yes or no. From that yes, you can able to, or no, you can able, or the feedback, whichever the feedback you have, you can able to construct an architect of what the database looks like and able to attack it. Or depending on the delimiter that you have fed the database of the system, the time that it will take to respond, you'll be able to record that and do that in a couple of times so that you can able to understand the pattern. Having the pattern of the response time, you can able to understand what kind of database is there. Is it an SQL, MySQL or NoSQL? So without further ado, what we're going to use in this practice, in this lab, we're going to uh, use Kali on Linux machine. That's the material that the materials of practice machine material that we need, the Kali Linux machine and the Metasploitable 2 machine. So up to this point, I believe if you're following along, you have a Linux machine installed, and if not, you can go back to our previous episodes. You can check through and get how to download and install a Linux and run on your machine. So what you're going to do here, you're just going to install Metasploitable 2, which is the vulnerable machine that you're going to attack. So we can download Metasploitable 2 from two sites. Number one, you can go to SourceForge and just search SourceForge Metasploitable 2. There it is. You can download it from that point. That's the first one. Or else we can check out on I don't know, it's taking long. Yeah, good. So you can download it from here, and I don't know if you can go back and check for another one, but SourceForge is enough. You can also go to what is it called, Rapid7. Rapid7 is another site, a good site that you can download Metasploitable. So in this case, I've already downloaded Metasploitable the same way we just did on downloading Metasploitable and install Linux. The same way we are going to do Metasploitable. You are going to download and run it the same way. If you're having any problem, let me know. But I will also illustrate in another episode on how to download and install Metasploitable for those who will miss out on this. So Metasploitable, if it's downloaded and run, you're expected to get, let me show you, this is how Metasploitable looks like. Just a minute. Yeah, that's how Metasploitable looks like. As you can see, that's the Metasploitable. If you download and you finish everything, I know you might be asked for a password and username and a password. Username is msfadmin. That's the username, and also the password, that's the same. So let me check, confirm, exclude su. And as you can see, this is the username msfadmin. So username is over here. So the password is also sfadmin. So yeah, that's it. So that's our vulnerable machine that we are going to use. Let me let's see. So okay, fine. So that's our Metasploitable machine. Next, we are going to check on our Kali machine, and of course, I believe to this point everyone has interacted with their Kali machine. This is how the interface of the Kali machine. So here it is. You can ask it, you can do anything. We have been working on the networking and some basic commands of Linux to this point. So we are going to dive in right away. So the first thing that we are going to do as a hacker or any penetration tester, the first thing you want to do is to gather information of your target machine, and everything should be done on an ethical eye, because whenever you scan or collect data that is not meant for you, or you don't have eligibility to own that data or collect that data, you can fall in the wrong hands of the guys in blue. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to check if these machines are connected. We are going to assume that we have already infiltrated into the target's network, and we are within the local area network of the target. So infiltration and getting to the target network. That's a case of another day. We're going to discuss that, but for this point we're going to check. Number one, let us check the IP address of this one and try to connect to ping Kali Linux to Metasploit in that case. So let us do if config. So our system view the IP address, and let us go check the IP address to our Metasploitable machine. Let us transit this on. So let us check the IP address of this machine. So it's, you can do if config. There are two ways you can check. This is the IP address, or you can do IP ADR. You can get the same feedback. So let us ping our Kali machine from this machine, and let's see what's the IP address. The IP address is 2121. Yeah, it says there 2121. Fine. So let me clear this first so that we can. So let us ping. Let us give it 4 counts. 0, 221. Okay, yes, you have a connection. You can see 4 packet transmitted, 4 packet received, 0 packet. Yeah. So let us try ping the other way around. Let us try connect. What? Let us try connect the Kali Linux and ping. So let us ping. Let us give it 4 counts. 0 to 7. Yeah, and we are connected now. Since we can able to communicate to the machine, we are assuming that we have already infiltrated into the network of our target, and we can able to communicate with our target. So our target here is Metasploitable. Again, it's a vulnerable system. Now we are going to emulate that one. We're going to start by collecting some information. So the first thing that we're going to use is Nmap. Nmap is a network mapper tool used for security audits. It's a Swiss knife for ethical hackers, cybersecurity analysts, and everyone within the fraternity of the cyberscope. So what we're going to do is going to escalate our privileges. As I said, sudo is used to escalate the privilege. Some operations cannot be done on Kali Linux without privilege escalation. So sudo is a privilege escalator. So our tool is Nmap. So what are we going to do? We are going to, number one, we're going to do a ping TCP synchronization scan to understand if we have some open port. That we're going to use this switch, small s and capital S. The next thing that we're going to check is the version of the Metasploitable. We are assuming that we don't know anything about the machine right now. So small s, capital V. So we want to accelerate our ping because we have 1 to 4, 1 to 5. We can use 1 to 5 here. Let me show you. So I'll be using 4 because we can do, even we have 1 T1 to T5. So T1 being the most noise, in that case it will, if someone is watching the logs of that system from the end, you'll understand that something is going on. That's what I was telling you. If you're trying to gather information, you need to understand the tools that you're using and the eligibility of your process of your work you're doing, because someone might be checking on the logs and sees that there's a device that is sending a lot of ping scan to their network or their device, and they can get hold of you through some forensic techniques. So in this case, we are going to use T4 because it's a fast but a low scan. So T4. So what we're going to do is going to check on open ports because we don't want to by default nmap will scan the 1000 common ports that are there, but we have 65,535 ports that are out there, but by default nmap will just scan the first 1000 ports that are common that are used on a system. So in this case, we don't want to waste our system and our time scanning a lot and doing all those. We just want open ports and okay. So our target IP address, that's the final thing that we are going to use. Target is 7 if I'm not wrong. Let me check. Yeah, 7. So this is the IP address. So nmap, we'll be discussing later on about nmap. Is a very comprehensive tool for the cybersecurity fraternity. So in this case, we are going to use it to gather information on our target system, since we have already confirmed that we can communicate with the system. And as I said before, we are assuming that we are connected to the local network of the target. So if say enter, it will ask you for your password. To give it, let us give it some few time till it will act fast. But if you are doing on a large network, it will take time, and also it depends on the commands that we'll be using. In this case, I've just tried to use a short command so that we can be able to fasten up the process. So meanwhile, as the process goes on, you need to understand one thing. Okay, here in the Linux, you can, if you want to see where the process has reached, to what point it has loaded to, or it has scanned, you just press the space bar. So maybe it has started. Yeah, as you can see, it's 93% done. It's very fast, I'm telling you. Yeah, so let us just give it some time, a little bit time. So from this point, you need to understand the database. Please go through the article that I've been shared through the link in my bio, so that you can understand different kind of database. We have a NoSQL database and MySQL database. Why is this used? Which one is best? And how we can um, we can infer hybrid uh, techniques so that we can prevent our systems, our organizations from being exploited, the database being exploited. Remember, database is very valuable. You can get information like credit card information, emails, date of birth, a lot of information, a lot of personal identifying information, other called PII. So you can imagine if an hospital has been enumerated and the database has been infiltrated, a lot of patients' data can be leaked, and those are some of the cases that we see nowadays in news and everywhere. Someone leaks information pertaining to sensitive uh, uh, sensitive people, character profiles. So you see, we need to understand this thing. The earlier the better, and preventing them is the best thing we can do. So here we are, voila. So let me just expand this machine. Good. So this is how the report comes. So the report starts from this point. After doing the report starts from this point, it will tell you the nmap scan report for that host. So the host is shown up, not shown. We have 977 closed ports. So we have three status of our ports. We can have a port in a closed status, which means no information is being relayed back. Maybe that's most likely those it can be a firewall. You can able to understand as a firewall. You can have a port in an open state whereby when we send our ping, like this one here over here, when we send, we will understand about the three handshake, the three TCP handshake. So when you send our ping, it reverts back, and we give you an information that means it's open. So the third stage is the filtered stage, whereby uh, we are sending a ping, but the port does not want to give us information or what. It just relays, it just assumes and ignores in that state. So okay, so in this case, after going through that, we have 977 closed. I told you Nmap by default takes 1000 ports to scan, so we can understand out of 937 the rest are open, and here they are. So we have these ports, this one, this one, these one are all open ports, and we can go through these ports. Any machine that we get with all these ports open is vulnerable, number one, because some most of these open ports have common vulnerability emulated against them, like this Samba net BIOS, and FTP shouldn't be open. SSH should be open only in special cases. Maybe an administrator needs to work on the system or the application, but only on special occasions. Telnet the same, shouldn't be used. SMTP, can see so many. You can see the login. It's very, but since it's a vulnerable machine, it's made that by reason. For that reason, it's okay with that case. So this case, we are just interested in databases, and we are going to we have checked. We have an open database here. We call them MySQL, and another one called PostgreSQL. So there's a tool called Searchploit. Searchploit is can be used to tell you more about that. For example, here we have this open port here, and it tells you the version and then the service. So Searchploit tells you the version and more about that version and where you can locate it. So in this case, we want to check this on MySQL. So let us check, like use Searchploit MySQL 5.0. Let us hash it so that you can have any related, it can give us information any related 5.0 version kind of so it refused that as used this one. And yeah, so this is the database, and the exploit database that you can also update, or if you find something that's missing, you can update and add it, so that when you are offline, you can still be able to emulate the system and infiltrate offline. So this is the database. You can curate a payload using this. It tells you the path where you get the payload. In this case, let us take like this one. So let us try check the location of this one. So locate. Let us check, like okay, 320.txt. It tells you where the location is in the exploit database. So it's there, it's already there in the database. You can be able to attack this system from our database when it's offline. So in this case, we're not going to do that, because that's another case, not another story, that we're going to use Metasploit. Not Metasploitable. We have a Metasploit, which is a framework used to curate payloads, and a Metasploitable, which is a vulnerable machine. So in this case, we're not going to do that. So, but you can check the file as well. And let us try to check. Just try to check this file.txt. Okay, but you can check the all of it. copy. I told you want to check a file, use cat. Yeah, so it tells you the source, this there, where the whichever the party that uploaded the vulnerability on this database. Remember, the security focus, these are cybersecurity organizations that are there to catch or to curb vulnerabilities before they are exploited or taken advantage by the black hat hackers or the bad intruders with the bad intention. So they identify it first and they upload it and they give information and they tell you this MySQL is prone to denial of service vulnerability because it fails to handle certain special special specially crafted queries. Yeah, it's prone to the DDoS, denial of service attack. So we're not going to in that route today. So let us try MySQL. If MySQL is connected to our system, but I know it's not connected because yeah, it's not connected. So let us try using MySQL. This is the database and connect it to our victim. So you want to try and eliminate this because we have understand our system as is already vulnerable. We want to eliminate it, and we want to attack it from this zone. We have two ways we can attack it. We want to attack it from this zone. We want to use our system because you are connected to the network, and that's why the reason I tell you you need to do a network audit all the time to understand if you have a rogue device on your network. So in this case, we want to attack that device, and because you are not connected to any database, any in database in our system, we want to connect from our machine to the database of that machine. So we do SQL, MySQL, switch, which then we use the switch H is the host. So the host, we're going to use the IP address of our metasploitable. Need to confirm that one more time. Another thing that you need to be sure is don't emulate networks that are not yours. You can do that and cause some major problems. So is it here? Is it so? Let's transition this first. Yeah. So yeah, okay, so fine, it's 27. So let's go back. Linux. So it's 27, and then you want to log in as a root. So we use the switch U. The root, as I told you, root is the administrator. If you are coming from Windows, I think you understand administrator. So in this case, you are a root, and we want to the password. We don't want to give you the password. We want to check if that MySQL that we have already we scanned and identified over here. Where is it? This one. If it was installed as a root user or it's running as a root user and it was installed by default. You know, there are some machines that or some operations that come with the machine that are default and they don't have passwords. So we want to test number one. Maybe this database was installed to this machine and it's running as a root user, but it has no password. It came as a default from the manufacturer. So no one cared in the organization cared to configure the system. So we are going to check, just that's the first step we're going to do, it to check. If you find it there has no password, you can eliminate it from this point, but if no, we can escalate to another way. So it will ask you for the password. Just press enter. So it's an error, wrong version. So it means yes, it's running as a root user, but it was configured. It's not running as at a default using a default password, as like the way it just came. Someone just went ahead a step and cared about it and configured. So in that case, will not be able to eliminate from that point. So the next way you're going to do is going to use the browser, because we know where it's running from. Let us go. It's our browser, is our Firefox, and it. So luckily enough, that database has been configured, but it's also rare to find nowadays systems that running on a default environment. Uh, most most of these systems nowadays have been, at least some care has been taken. Some care have been taken. Have been some configuration have been taking care of that. So let us wait for our Firefox to load. From that point, we are going to eliminate from the Firefox from the browser only if you are connected to the to the target. Remember to do this in an ethical manner, because whenever you try to do this in a application or a website or a network that you don't have eligibility, all these systems can record logs. What's not happening? All these systems can record logs, but it depends if the system has a log correlator, because that's another case. Most of organizations have a very well built system of network. What should I say? Then the architecture is good, but they don't have a log correlator, so it's very hectic if you don't have a log correlator. We'll be checking on that some later time, on how to correlate logs, check on logs, how we can use SIEM, that's a system information and management machine, to understand what's going on. So in this case, let us go, and I know it is taking this long. But so I think this point you have understood how we are going to this point. You are having some picture on what is going on, what we are doing. So let us just recommending this one to load. I don't know why it's taking. Okay, fine. Let us just give it a minute. And let us check on something here. As it loads, as it loads. So okay, it has already. So at this point we have this interface. This is our browser. So I think the reason it has been taking long is because this I was using to intercept some network. Let me check. Just a minute. Proxy, it's fine. So okay. So at this point, let us just cancel that and go back. So we remember our host IP address. So we can just go directly because we are connected. And the 2.7 let us connect and see. Fine. So this one is our metasploitable, and remember these IP addresses for our machine. It's for our vulnerable machine. So from this point, since it has shown that at least there's some level of security has been deployed on the root database. So what next we're going to do, we're going to use to attack it from the web interface or from the web angle. So you can use this depending on the device. So in this case, we are going to use DVWA. This is a down vulnerable web. We have so different types of loggings here for different kinds of purposes. For this case, we're going to use DVWA. It's called a down vulnerable web. As you can see here, it will being told password and username is MS of admin for metasploitable. As I told you, it's just a common password. Everyone and anyone can have that password. Nothing to hide about that. So we want to log in here to this DVW, them variable web. So the password and the username should find them down here. So the username is admin and the password is password. Everyone has this one. Should have this one. But now, so we are logging to this interface so that you can be able to emulate some attacks on that application. So in this case, you have permission to go ahead. Maybe it's an application of your client, or your client wants to be done an SQL or database emulation, and you have done all that. So to this point, what we are going to go is the interface, the login interface. Everybody has seen that on our website or any place. Yeah, everyone has seen that. So we go here to DVWS security. For that, let me show you one thing. You see, it's called a down vulnerable web app. It's very vulnerable. It's very vulnerable. So anyone can emulate that. So you come to DVWA security. So as you can see, the level of security is currently high. You want to put it low. The reason we are doing it low is because you want just to eliminate low kind of attacks. You don't want to do complex attacks. You just want to do low kind of attacks. And the low, if you use low in this script, in this level, you use a low script. Any low level attack that you make against the database, it will pick. So yeah, we have lowered that, but later on we'll change to medium, and later on learn how to do on the high attacks. So in this case, we want to do an SQL injection, SQLi. But as I said, under SQLi, we have three kinds. We have inbound, inferential, and out of bound. And inbound, we have error-based and union. So under inferential, we have time-based, and we have time-based and boolean. So and the inferential is the one called blind SQL, as I said. So right now we're going to do SQL, but an error-based or an inbound based that combines error-based and union. So you're going to go to SQL injection, no blind. So everyone has seen this in a website, in an application where they want your user ID. So this is where we start to illuminate. So if you have a website or application that requires login, we can start with this point. So the first point that we're going to use, we are going to try to eliminate some queries here. So the first query that we're going to use is this one. This one is going to break the query to data and give us information. Remember, if you want this, let me call it an apostrophe. If you have this an apostrophe and you input it, it will break the command. But if you have two, it will give you a full structure, because if, for example, if you have something select user A against B, when it comes to user, you put it an apostrophe, it will break that query. So let us try. Just submit. So there's an error. So number one, you can see there's an error-based SQL, and you can see it tells you you have an error in your SQL syntax, right? Check the manual and correspond to your manual to your MySQL server version for the right syntax to you. So the first thing we have installed, now we have a MySQL. Now our server is MySQL, and it tells you here uh, we have a problem on at this point. So let us go back. So let us try something like one or or 1 equals to 1. We can comment these out. Just comment these out. So it's still an error. So let us try something else. Okay. So let us try something that will tell us a first name, last name, something like, let us use A. You can just use any letter in figure A, or 1 equals to 1. You need to comment this one. So you can comment out using a hash, or using those broken lines. So let us use this one. Okay, as you can see, it has relayed information, it has spewed information. So we have it tells us ID. This is what for the first name admin, username admin. So this we are telling the database select something A. Our username is A, and we have broken the chain. We don't want to tell it the next phase of what is going on, so it will query the username to find a username. Okay, we have a username A, so next, when it comes to next, we have this apostrophe over here, but it is in it will break the query and go into the data version. So or 1 is equals to 1, so the query will continue going on to the query. So the username is A, fine. So next, when it comes to next, you're telling 1 is equals to 1. Of course 1 is equals to 1, so it continue querying the same database like that. So you can see the first name is here, hack, username me. There's so many ways you can get this, and you can use this one to log in. This information, imagine you have a database, someone has a database, and you can able to do this. You can able to get a lot of information. Okay, let us use let's use a pound sign over here. Pound sign, or instead of using just one A, you can just use anything. B, any you can try anything, so long as you understand the feedback that you are being given. What does it mean, and what can you use the information with? to do or to deconstruct the database of targets. So let us use that pound sign. You can see we have a lot of information here still. Let us use another one. There's so many ways we can attack a database. So as I said, this will give an even a number of queries, because we have how many apostrophes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it should be at least 6, yeah, or an even number, because when it tells this and it checks on this, something should be close. So give me select the username, and maybe the username is it is in closed quotes. So if you give me the username, you just open the quotes and you don't close the quotes, it will create an error. Or you close the quotes and did not open the quote, it will of course create an error, and that's what we are doing here. So the username is A, and that A we have only closed the username. You've not opened, because if you could have opened, you could have used that over here. Let us check. So it will just tell you it's an error. But now you want to do spewing of data. Let us check. Let us remove this one. As you can see, there's a lot of information it keeps telling us over here. Pablo, Picasso, Smith, and stuff. So let us try another one. I'm going to try a couple of simulations, so that at the end we can be able to reinforce the security of our database. And then another one, that's it. So that's on error-based. So I said on inbound SQL we have two types of attacks: error-based and union. So we have seen the error-based. So the error-based can do, if you say a, let's see what it will tell you. So if you say a, it tells you, okay, it gives you a feedback, it's positive. So any value, it's positive. So you can use that feedback and add something else, like the way I've been using a here. Like let me use another one. Use, because we know we have a, and of course the a, we are taking it as a username. We are trying to emulate in a reverse way to that database. Whoever created the database, we are doing a reverse way. So as you can see, that's an error base. So next we're going to work on a union. So at least we have speed some information using the database. Let us use union. For the union will be able to tell us how many tables are we having. So like union, let us use A, because we know we have A union. Select, let us check how many tables do we have. We want to know the number of tables that we have. So you comment out they use select columns. Okay, it has different number of columns. So let us try 2. So we have two columns and above. Let us try three. So if it's a big organization or application that you are trying to test, you can just use some uh, approximation and understand. You can't go 1, 2, 3 and yet the organization is big. You can start with 1,000 value depending on the organization. So different columns. Let us try. Let's try for. Let's see. So it has different columns still. So let us use, because we have a couple of columns, let us use this one. Union select. Let us use our famous guy called Bob. Close that one. Open Bob. And we hash it. So as you can see, we have first name Bob, username Bob. So from this we can able to eliminate and understand. We have an ID where, because you have breaked this one, and I keep telling you, we have breaked the query, it will spit out, because, and we have hashed out. So the select username A, and we close the command, but we did not open it. So we union select Bob is equals to Bob. So even if you use A or whichever the letter, let us try another letter, like let's say B, union select, let's say Z F Z, okay, that's what Z F, and we hash it. So if you hash, the query will continue. It will not break something within the database, but it will continue query and give you the feedback. Remember, our target is, we don't want to alert the database manager or database administrator that something has been going on. We just want to query and get information and move. So let us try that. Yeah, so that's very possible. So from that point, you can understand that we have broken our query. Now we are into the data, so we want to continue and understand. Let us get the version of this database. Before that, let me try something here first. Can't do select 1, 2. Then 1, 2. Okay, fine. So let us try using a database to emulate the version of the database. Select version user. So we are asking the database the version. As you can see, it's localhost, that's the username, first name, version. Okay, this is the version 5.01. It's an Ubuntu. What else do you want to check? You can check the username, password. So let us dump everything, like we want to get everything in that database. So now that we have that, pattern, we can be able to. This might sound strange if you don't understand SQL and how database works, but with the time you'll be able to understand, especially if you go through and polish on SQL. From users, we have to close that one. Actually, we have an error. Yeah, it tells you where the error is. Let me show you. It tells you where the error is here. Here. That's where the error is. So we can just change that point and try until the error is out. So everything is working, is good, except that point. And I know probably that could be the reason. Check. One comment out. Okay, let's try to make this, but I don't think. Okay. Being users from okay, fine. Let's try and comment like this. Let's try and comment like this. So just try and work on another thing because that one has refused. But no, let us do this. Let us do this and the check on here. So A. Fine, that one just refused. But we can. Let us check another one. We have so many commands. If that one repeats, it can't waste our time over there. So union. Okay, union select. That hosts. You want to check the host name. You want to pretend that you don't know what's the host name and everything. Okay, it will tell you this is the username, then variable web, and first name this that's the username. Metasploitable. So many. Let us try another one on the union side still. So which is a union select table. Okay, so the table name underscore name null from information schema. So there is an information schema that we need to want to get information from that information schema. Underscore table. So the information schema does not want us to get information, but we need to comment this out because does not exist. Where did you get the DVWA? Okay, let us try another one. But to this point, you'll be able to enumerate and get some information from the database. But that's not enough. We'll try another one. I did that one break the information schema. Name table null information. From information schema table. Okay, fine. If it has refused, you can try another thing. So union select, just do on columns. Column name, then the given null from information schema and table schema equals to database. Close it like that. Check. Some will accept, some will refuse. So database only thinking. So let us check the database and refuse. Commented out. Some will accept, some will refuse. Others will just refuse again. Let us check. We have a couple of commands that we can be using, so long as you understand what's happening on the back end. So okay, select user password from user. Let us check the user. Union select user password from user. So it says that one does not exist, user does not exist. Let's say username, user. Okay. It's users, not user. Users. Okay, that one has refused. Okay, to this point, I think just have to stop there because up to this point, I'd like to stop there. And I believe if you have learned something, please subscribe. Let me have your feedback. Let me have your comment in the comment section. Subscribe, share. Till next time, see you. Take care.